Hi Knox friends. I promise I'm not going to send you a video every day, but at the start of this challenging week, I thought I would send you a message with both some spiritual and some practical thoughts, which I hope you'll find helpful. Here goes. Henry David Thoreau once wrote these words: "I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life and see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not when I came to die discover that I had not lived." Some of you will recognize these words of the great American transcendentalist who in 1845 embarked on a 2-year journey into simplicity. He went to live in a hut by Walden Pond to think and to write. Thoreau is far from unique in his desires to shed himself of the busyness and the distractions we all face. He is not alone in his quest to simplify. The world's great religions all have heroes to whom we point, who have chosen a simpler life out of a yearning for connection with God. These heroes saw simplicity not as a sacrifice, but in fact a chance for enrichment and greater strength. In Christian history, Saint Anthony, who lived in the 3rd century, became one of the models for the monastic movement in Christianity. It was written of Saint Anthony that when he adopted a simpler form of life, many marveled, but he himself bore the labor easily. As he aged, it was said of him, he remained both strong in hands and feet, and while all men were using various foods and washings and diverse garments, he was the one who appeared more cheerful and of greater strength, because he had sacrificed those things. Knox family, today I want to speak to you for a few moments about the spiritual practice of simplicity. No doubt many of us are being challenged or even made anxious or depressed by the need for social distancing. We all want to know how long this is going to last. No doubt these are trying times, and I do not wish to pretend that it is otherwise. But often I find that if I have a creative way to reframe in my mind and heart a burden that I am carrying, the burden becomes lighter. So I would like to give you the gift of thinking about the sacrifice of social distancing, to think about it as a possibility for spiritual growth, a chance, as Thoreau stated it, to live deliberately. Let's talk about practicalities then for a moment. What does living deliberately look like in our own context as we live in these days of the coronavirus? The best science out there is arguing that especially in these particular crucial days, the best thing many of us can do is stay at home. Even if you are not in the highest risk category, every social interaction you have can result in your carrying the virus and passing it on to others. It is only by minimizing our contact with one another that we can prevent overwhelming our healthcare system and its supplies and putting ourselves and other people at great risk. This period of the very highest risks and our greatest chance to minimize it, this period is temporary. So if you can, stay at home. Know that by making that choice, you are helping. Now for the spiritual part. How do you bear the loneliness, the boredom, the tedium of the choice to stay at home? Think of yourself like a Thoreau or a Saint Anthony. Make a spiritual practice of simpler choices for yourself. When you decide not to go to the supermarket today for extra things because you've got peanut butter and jelly right there in the cupboard, you are keeping it simple and you are loving God and loving your neighbors by doing so. So make that peanut butter and jelly. Make it with a prayer in your heart and give thanks to God that you already have what you need. And ask for God to come closer and be more present to you in these days. Second, this week, Knox is going to share with you several resources for prayer and meditation. You can find them on our website, knox.org. In addition to those resources, I will include with this posting 4 online resources with which you can engage. One is called sacredspace.ie. It's an online devotion that is new every day and is great for quiet meditation of any length. Richard Rohr writes a terrific daily devotion that many of us on the Knox staff already follow. I will share that with you. Last August, Next Church published a month's worth of blog posts about mindfulness and what it has to do with the church, and we'll share that resource. And finally, if you have never done any kind of mindfulness meditation and you're not sure how to get started, I'll share a short 11-minute video clip, an audio clip actually, from a teacher named Dan Siegel. This is the resources that first helped all of this mindfulness and meditation stuff to make sense to me. So all of those resources will be shared with this posting. Finally, if you didn't get a chance yesterday, take a look at my message from yesterday's Sunday worship. It's also available on knox.org. Remember two important things that you can do right from your home. First, make online gifts to Knox if you are able to do so. Why? The session, our church's elected leadership will hold a virtual meeting tonight, during which we will consider several financial requests we have already received from mission partners. These are people who are working on the front lines in our community to fulfill critical needs. You can help them by giving. Second, keep in touch with one another. In these days, our phones and our computers are a real gift. Think of someone in our community who may be feeling alone or anxious and keep in touch with them. You can be a real blessing, and it will be a blessing for you as well. Remember as you take each one of these steps that when we simplify our lives, we make space for God to come in. Don't think of it as such a burden. Remember when St. Anthony did it, many marveled, but he himself used to bear the labor easily. Keep in touch, my friends. I'll see you soon.